Okay, this is my like fifth time doing this, but yeah, I have never done any kind of tutorials on YouTube, but this is like my first time, and I thought I'd dabble into this because there's not a lot of tutorials on how to do this effect on the internet, and I thought I'd just share the method I did it from. As you can see on the screen, I'm going to be doing the drift smoke for a drift, but to be noted, it's in the desert, as the fallen car or any other car is going to be drifting in the desert, even though the terrain is not very desert like. This is just for an example. I have used the falling terrain just to show the drifting animation and the smoke. So let's dive right into the scene now. I got a car model and rig off of Turbo Squid. The link would be in the description. It was an amazing rig by this person, and I'm really glad because this rig is really good and really easy to use. So I made a simple animation of the car drifting like that, as you can see. Then I transformed it down to something really tiny, like 0.01, so it's not too heavy for my computer. Then I blasted off the rig because it was annoying. That's just basically it. Then I blasted the tires off the car, as the tires would be the emitters for it. But you don't want these tires to be the emitters because the smoke would be like circular and not as like dense, and it wouldn't look that good. So then I added a box, copied it to these points to be the main emitter, and then I added a null to make that the emitter I'm going to source in another geometry node or another subnode. I added a few materials. I could not texture it the same as this dude could. I'm not that good at texturing, but I did what I could. I toon shaded it. I even toon shaded the normal car, and then I added it to here, and then that was the car done. Then I set up a scene, a basic scene of just a huge grid which goes up. That was the grid done. Now to the main thing. The simulation, sorry. I got in the emitters from the object merge. As you can see, they do follow it. I scattered them as they don't have a lot of points on the normal, so if you see this, only has like 8 points each, so that's not gonna emit a lot of smoke. Then I added a power source to make density and temperature. I did, and velocity, of course, because you do want to calculate and get the velocity of the moving object, that is the tires, in this case these boxes. I did increase the default value for the density and temperature because when a car drifts, the temperature of the rubber and the tires gets so high, it gets really high, so that is why it makes the smoke. My bad, yeah. So it gets really high, that's why it makes the smoke. So that's why I increased the default value by a bit. That's 10, so I could have more smoke emit from the cubes. Then I rasterize it. I did add a weight to the attribute, and that was the velocity, as I do want it to calculate the way it moves. Then I have done this through an axiom solver. You can do the same through Pyro. It would be the same kind of settings, just a bit of difference in how it's going to end up looking for you. And I added an axiom which starts at the 50th frame. So if I just go here, I have cached it, so excuse me. So you see this, it starts here at the 50th frame. So what I have done for this is basically I increase the density in the main sourcing too, and even the pressure, as pressure in axiom is what determines how much smoke is gonna like puff out at the start. So I increase that as well, the velocity and the temperature as well. And for the main simulation, I amped up the dissipation to the max, as I don't want it to like I don't want the trail to keep on going for a long time, so I upped the dissipation to 1. The buoyancy, I did put it down to 0.5, as if I increased it, all of this is just going to be a huge mushroom cloud just going up like that, which I don't want. Then I added a bit of wind at the start, which was just like 1 with the speed and like power of 3, so the wind blows on this side, so you like know that the car's going that fast that it moves on that side. Add a bit of force and drag so the smoke like doesn't fade off really quick but also fades off. And then I added a bit of disturbance too, as disturbance is like it, let's say your cloud is like, let me just open up paint. Let's say this is your cloud with no dissipation, with no disturbance. This is going to be the cloud with a lot of disturbance, and I want that, as when the car is drifting we're going to have a lot of disturbance throughout all the particles as they shake violently. So I added that. I added a lot of turbulence with a bit of speed. If you want, you can mess around with the swirl size and make it swirl a bit more, but I didn't want that. And then I just added a bake volume, where I changed the smoke color to look like sand. And yeah, that's basically it. You could also do another variation and make this entire smoke look like a toon shaded smoke. I'm gonna go all the way here because I have not cached this. You can convert this smoke into VDB. So go from convert fog to SDF. It's going to convert all of your smoke density, everything, to an SDF. As you can, give me a second. Okay, no, never mind. Yeah, so it's going to convert it to SDF. Then you have to convert it again into a polygon, because that is what is going to get the material of the toon shader. So you can up or down the, you can make it 0 to look more like smoke and a bit more pointy, I guess. And if you want it to look like proper smoke and like puffy, then 0.1 is the best. It wouldn't work in front, above 0.1 1.5. It wouldn't work above 1.5. So keep that in mind too. And you add the material to it, and that is the toon shaded one. But for now, we just want this, and yeah. So this is how I ended up with the entire sim of the drift. You can mess around with it however you want. Another thing you could do in this is get your grid or your environment, turn it into a VDB with, and then give it a name attribute of collision, so it's like a collision VDB, and you merge it with this volume rasterize so the smoke doesn't go through the floor and the environment. I will link a tutorial on how to make collision surfaces for axiom in the description if you do need that. But yeah, there's a basic on how to make a drift sim in Houdini through axiom. If you do like it, if you do have like some feedback on how to make it better and on how to improve it, I would love to know in the comments below. I'd love any kind of criticism on it to improve how it ends up looking. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned from this.